Hi, welcome to Culture Camp.
Thank you.
It's lovely to have you here. Do you want to share who you are and what you do?
Yes, my name is Kerry Edwards. I'm the manager for Burnside Community Centre, which is a small voluntary organisation on Langley Estate in Middleton, Manchester.
Great, thank you. And tell us a little bit about where you work. So what happens in community centre? What's the community like? What are your favourite things about it?
Okay, I think my favourite things about it are the people and the eclectic people and the history of Langley Estate. It's an overspill estate that was built in the 60s, and it's gone through an incredible amount of changes. I've been here for nearly 20 years now working at Burnside. I started as a volunteer, so I fully know the power of small organisations and what they can do and how they can inspire people. Our strapline is inspiring change, and I think that's something that we've always wanted to do because we're here for the long term. With Burnside Centre being in Langley Estate, it is an area of deprivation, but we try not to focus on that too much. We're really about positive change and empowering people. And if we see ourselves here for the long term, we're actually celebrating our 54th birthday this year.
Wow.
So that's 54 years of doing the same type of work. And we just always want to engage with our community and just to really holistically try and alleviate poverty. That's what we really want to do and know the different aspects of poverty. So that's what we're here for, and that's what we aim to alleviate through positive change and inspiring people.
And I know you've got lots of groups and classes and kind of activities going on. Do you want to share
Yes.
the flavour of those?
Sure. I mean, because we do like a holistic service, so we do lots of training. We have an open door policy. We have just a lot of ad hoc conversations and support. We do crisis support for people. We help people who are fleeing domestic violence. We do emergency food parcels, counselling. We have our own preschool because we want to engage with families from that initial starting point. We do sensory activities for families, and that was really key after the COVID and the lockdown. We really wanted to have open access where parents who had children during COVID and missed out all that enjoyment and that celebration of their child and showing it to people. We wanted to have a session where they could come and be with other parents, and that is one session that we're really super proud of. We do parental courses in play, and we really want to inspire people through play to have better connections with their children. And it's all really about empowering people to be not the best that they can, but to have those core resources to be able to grab opportunities and enrich their life. I think that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're doing that kind of crisis work as well as the kind of enriching stuff, but all with that really positive, inclusive, open approach.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm sure the culture of the community and the culture that you're setting through that work is really supportive of the people you work with. But what about your staff team? Tell us a bit about your staff team.
Yeah, our staff team, they're quite an eclectic mix of people and lots of different experiences and ages as well. So I think they're predominantly women. So we have a staffing team of 9. So we have one gentleman. We have, I think it's half and half. So half of our staffing team are most definitely born and bred on the estate, and the other half are not, which is a really good mix because we all come from different backgrounds and different experiences, but we're still here for one collective mission and vision, which is really good. So we have a lot of time of reflective practice because we're all so different and we all want our voices heard and we all have our different passions and things like that. So it's just about always discussing and being quite open as a team because we are so different and we have different interests and things like that.
And it's really important that, isn't it, providing space and time and allocating time for that work, because if just bringing a diverse group together is great, but that you can often have a breeding ground for conflict or for misunderstandings. So putting in that time to reflect together, to talk, to have conversations sounds like a really useful part of your organisational culture.
Yeah, and I think as well, just following on from that, we're very emotive. So we're quite, I think like working in the voluntary sector, it's quite emotional. It takes a chunk of you in a very good way, but we have to be super mindful of that and try and avoid burnout because you do a lot of hours and it's not just a 9 to 5. And even if you're very mindful of keeping work within work and things like that, or you might do different activities and maybe turn your emails off. It's still a job that is, it's for the full day, or you're thinking about it and things like that. So we have to be mindful that while we're very passionate, it can, or we should be very mindful that it doesn't lead to burnout, because I think that's very prevalent.
Those like ad hoc conversations that you're having with drop-ins and things, you kind of don't know what's going to arrive at the door, do you?
That's right.
And it takes a lot of energy to respond to things. And I think if you've got that inclusive open door policy, having the balance of supporting your staff members is really important, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And while we're talking about staff, you've done some staff development recently, and thinking about your team and your values. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've developed constantly challenging ourselves, because we know that our core work comes from us as individuals. So if it's coming from us and us listening to our community and sort of being a meeting point of ideas and conversations, and us as a core to make those things happen, or if our community wants something, then we have to have those key strengths. We have to know it ourselves, I think, is what I'm trying to say. And we've done work with consultants about our core strengths. So we know now, this year we've done a lot of work looking at our strengths. We know that what excites us as a team and individuals is things around empathy and compassion and self-improvement. We have a really robust self-improvement, and that could be through, we have a member of staff who's doing a master's at the minute, and we have other ones who are going to volunteer in the Youth Justice Board. So we have lots of different opportunities, and they're all enriching, and they're all very different. Some are very academic and some are not. Some are about experiences, or we try and encourage staff to go on different boards and networks, and it's all about just trying to open up to new experiences and things like that, to then enrich us, to then enrich the work that we do in the community. So that's what we do.
And creating those stories within your staff team. So your story of going from volunteer to manager, and other stories of, you know, maybe connecting with communities in different ways, or wider communities. That can be such important sort of role models and stories for people to see and be part of.
Yeah, we do. We did work recently with I don't know if you've heard of them. They're called Queen Bee Coaching, and they do leadership courses. And I think we've had 4 staff on that so far, and that's been so important to us as well, just to try and embed leadership. And it doesn't necessarily mean that their job title is anything to do with leadership. It's just about getting people to understand their power, their strengths, and also that they can lead, because we are such a small team, and we do such innovative work, that having those strengths is absolutely essential, just in life as well. And so we just, I think that's like a key strength of ours, because of the community need as well. It is driven by the needs of our community. And I feel, as a manager, if I can support people in any way or shape or form, then that doesn't just help us as an organization, it just helps them as like people and living life. I think it's super important that I recognize my staff are people, and they have issues and challenges and hopes and dreams, and it isn't just what's on that job description. Sometimes it's very separate from that job description, and I want to always create space to have conversations about where are they, what are they interested in, and put things in front of them, but not as a you must do this, but that's out there. Are you interested? Do you want to do it? Because it always enriches our work, whatever it may be, and however abstract it might be initially. If it's enriching them, then it's enriching us, and it's enriching our community.
And just on that
that's how I think the essence of how we work.
Just on that point of enriching communities, so I wonder if you've got a story or a perspective on how having this sort of personal development approach within your staff team has supported or inspired or created some kind of impact within the community that you sit within.
Okay, Kerry, that's a difficult one. My mind's gone blank. I think what I'll say is, the main example that I can think of is our preschool staff. So when I first came to Burnside, our preschool staff were a fantastic entry level of level 3.
Yeah.
10 years on, they all have their degrees in early years. They're attending conferences. They're being invited to speak about our best practice. They understand what best practice is, or maybe a continual goal towards it. They're super inspiring to the rest of the community, because all 4 of them are born and bred on Langley, and they are now just spearheading best practice across the borough. Our preschool has been outstanding since 2012. It was the first one inspected under the new EYFS framework, and 2 years ago it got outstanding again. So these are just local people who are now just spearheading change and the best practice for educational development and learning, and they're constantly finding new ideas and new things, and they're constantly searching for knowledge to enrich their practice, and I find that really inspiring. I know that people that see it find it very inspiring, and it's just to have this gem on Langley of childcare, but much more than childcare, is really special. And I think that's the power of maybe our work, but just the power of having individuals that are just invested in and what they can achieve. Yeah.
Great example.
I'm not sure if I don't know if that answered your question.
Example. I love that all of that inspiration and those gems that you mentioned is around children and little people who are growing up here on the estate, and growing up in the community centre and in the community. Fab story. Thank you, Kerry. Well, how can we find out more about your work, or how can people connect with you?
Yeah, I think the best way to connect with us is via our website and our Facebook page. We have quite an active Facebook page, so that's just Burnside Centre, and all information about us and what the work that we do is on our website at burnsidecentre.org.uk.
Amazing. Thank you, Kerry. We'll put all the links below, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you, Kerry.